What is my purpose?
You pass butter.
Oh my god.
Yeah, welcome to the club, pal.
We've got a capital world. It has some pretty great bonuses, but what on earth should we be doing with it? In this video, I'm going to try and answer that question. And if you enjoyed this video, please centralize that like button. The first thing to note with your capital world is that it will always have the designation Empire Capital. This is very important because this means you cannot specialize your homeworld. It will always have +5 stability, +10 amenities, and +100% governing ethics attraction. You can, of course, move your capital to another world if you'd like to. That costs 250 influence, and to be quite honest, I never can bring myself to do that. I find it very sacrilegious. But our inability to select a colony designation has a massive effect on the specialization of our homeworld. Of course, for most planets in your empire, you do want to specialize them. You want to generally specialize your worlds, as that will lead to a higher output for a specific job, and this way you can have individual worlds which primarily produce one specific resource or have only one specific output. For instance, this world here has an energy grid on, many generator districts, and it has been specialized as a generator world so that our technicians are producing a lot of energy. And our 15 technicians on this planet are producing 234 energy, which is quite a comfortable amount. So what should we do with our empire capital? Well, we should look to go for resources or outputs that the designations do not maximize. If we check through the designations, that will eliminate quite a few options for us. We shouldn't set it as primarily an urban world. That will increase trade value, meaning we don't want it to be a trade value world. None of the basic resources are going to be particularly efficient to have your pops producing on your capital, as you'll be missing out on that extra 25% you'll get from designating your planet. There are 3 designations that we can look at here: industrial, forge, and factory. All 3 of these simply reduce your upkeep, meaning that an individual pop is more efficient but not producing a greater amount of the resource. That could mean these kinds of resources, be those consumer goods or alloys, could be a good thing to build on our capital. However, it's very important to note that with the Forge World designation or the Factory World designation, we shift one job from consumer goods to alloy production, and as there are only 2 jobs on each industrial district, that means that we basically make all of our industrial districts produce only metallurgists or only artisans. As we can't set that on our capital, that means we cannot individually specialize our capital to be particularly good at alloys or particularly good at consumer goods. It would have to be really good at both. Bureaucratic Center is not a particularly brilliant designation to pick, and neither is Rural World or Fortress World unless you're under attack. That then leaves us with one option left: Tech World. Well, tech worlds reduce our researcher upkeep by 20%. Yes, that's nice, but on a pop by pop basis, that will not increase our research production. For that reason, I would recommend in the early game you dedicate your capital to being a research world. You're going to be getting, due to the extra 5 stability and extra amenities providing more stability, you're going to be getting more output from these researcher jobs. You're going to be getting more science. In addition to that, it is reasonable then to also use your capital world in an initial way to balance your economy. For instance, here I've grabbed a few extra generator districts and thrown down an energy nexus to make those technicians quite efficient, each one of them producing 22 energy, though I have completely removed my agriculture districts, as I will of course be running with a hydroponics bay that is going to be producing a whole bunch of food for me at very little upkeep. It's actually very efficient to build these across your empire rather than actually using pops to work those jobs. Don't forget to set a science ship to research assistance mode. That's going to provide at least a plus 10% bonus to your researcher's output on your capital. And when available, make sure to get a research institute. That's going to give you a 15% bonus to your researcher output, as well as a science director job, which is highly lucrative. Initially on your capital, you're going to be producing a whole host of city districts in order to unlock these building slots to get more research complexes. It's also completely legitimate to try to make your capital a culture world. That could be, for instance, building autocathon monuments or temples, because of course Unity is another thing that we cannot specialize a world to create. That makes the Empire Capital bonus effective at increasing our outputs there. If you'd like to know more about specializing your worlds to produce trade value and making an absolute killing in the process, click the video on screen now.